So one of my favorite game day snacks is chips and salsa. Once I open the bag, it's over, baby. I'm gonna eat the whole thing. And I have a way actually to make eating a whole bag of chips a little less regretful, or actually a whole lot less regretful, with these olive oil baked tortilla chips. They are easy to make, so delicious, and all they are corn tortillas with a little bit of olive oil brushed on them. They bake, they get nice and crispy, and you can customize them with salt and different spices and whatever you really want. So let's get started. It starts off with corn tortillas, the stars of the show. So you can just get corn tortillas right in the grocery store, just in a little stack like this. And you just take your knife and you want to cut them into chips. So I usually cut them in half. Who need the muscle to get through these? Why is it like this? We got through it. And then I'm gonna turn my stack and I'm gonna do the same thing across the other side. Wow, these are quite the tough corn tortillas. And then I like them in smaller pieces, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make smaller little chips just like this. Now that I've finally gotten through my corn tortillas, usually it's not that difficult, I'm going to take my stacks and I'm just going to place each little chip on a baking sheet separated. You don't want to just kind of plop them on the baking sheet in a big pile. You want to make sure that they're all touching the baking sheet in one single layer. So then you're gonna brush each of your corn tortilla chips with olive oil. You can add a little bit of lime to your olive oil if you want, or you can just leave the olive oil plain. I just give it a little mix if you put some lime juice in there. And then you just wanna kinda get that excess oil off of your brush, your basting brush, just so it has a little bit on it. And then you're just gonna brush all the tortilla chips with olive oil, just very, very lightly. You don't want a lot, tiny bit. So then you're just gonna flip your chips over so that the dry side is exposed. And you wanna brush that side with just a tiny bit of olive oil too. It's so exciting. It's time to bake these. So all of my chips are brushed with olive oil and it's time to bake them. You don't want to put any salt or seasoning on them before you bake. You want to season them after they bake. So we're going to stick them in the oven at 375 for about 8 to 10 minutes until they're nice and crispy. It's chip time. Right out of the oven is when you gotta salt them and add the seasoning. So I'm just gonna give it a nice, generous amount of salt. These are tortilla chips, you gotta have the salt. And then if you wanna add any different flavoring, it's time to do it now. So I have a little bit of onion powder that you can do on a few. Or you could do some smoked paprika, so a nice smoky flavor. Obviously, it's gonna give it a nice pretty color too. And then I also have some Mexican seasoning that I found that has chilies, garlic, and onion, so I thought that might be interesting on the chips. So you just wanna sprinkle it on, whatever you want, and then let them cool a little bit, and then you can put them in a bowl to eat, or however you like to eat your chips. So for your remaining tortillas, you just want to do a few more batches. Do you hear that crunch? Crazy good tortilla chips. Way less guilt and so customizable. How could you go wrong? Check these out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it. I feel like my skin needs some of this right now.